I don't know if you can see it, but we have a few cracks in here. The LCD does not turn on at all. And we've got our pre-assembled replacement unit, which comes with the mid-frame. I recommend you do it this way. We're going to transfer over some of the components from the inside. But all in all, this is a relatively easy repair to perform. Again, if you buy it with the mid-frame, if you want to buy just the glass by itself, you can, but it's going to be a lot more work. And if you spend just an extra 15, 20 bucks, you can get the whole thing already pre-assembled, and it'll just save you a lot of time and effort. So we'll take the back cover off of the phone, remove the battery, and of course, if you have a micro SIM or an SD card, make sure that you remove those before you go any further. And then we're going to have a bunch of screws here that we need to take out. And for some reason, a lot of the times, these screws don't like to come all the way out. Oh, and there's a seam on the side where we're going to pry the phone. These screws do like to get stuck inside the housing, so sometimes you have to kind of grab them and pull them out. You can also leave them in if you want, as long as you're sure that they're completely released, but they do have a tendency to go flying across the room when you pull on them, as does one of the inner clips on the phone that you'll see later here. So make sure you keep track of these, and obviously make sure that you count them, and we know that they have all been removed before you go any further. And you'll see here shortly, I'm going to actually use a pair of tweezers and just kind of demonstrate how we can get the stubborn screws out when they don't cooperate. So you can see what I'm going to do here is just back this screw out, and when I know that it's unthreaded all the way, if you go in underneath the screw with the tweezers, you can actually kind of hold on to it while you're twisting and then just lift it out. So if you find that helpful, it is nice to have a pair of tweezers on hand, especially for this repair, because there are a few things that we're going to have to grab on the inside of the phone. And once we get all of the screws out, there is an area down here that you can kind of gently pry underneath to pop off the cover for the charging port, flex cable, and everything else that goes along with that right inside here. And you'll see there's a little metal clip there that covers the charging port. And actually, I think it fell out as I was transitioning there. But we have a series of flex cables and one screw in the upper right-hand side of the logic board as you're looking at it right now that's going to have to come out. And we will transfer that all over. We'll go ahead and disconnect.
Into that market with this guy, which is called the
budget, right?
Yeah, it's definitely budget. It's only $129. It starts at $129. The version that we have here is $149, and this is the Lenovo IdeaTab A1000.
Costs more because we have more RAM in it, or
exactly, yeah. So it has a few better interiors.
Okay.
It comes with a dual-core Cortex A9 MCU chip, and you can definitely see that especially when you do things with like the accelerometer, it's actually a little slow.
You pay $20 more, you get a little bit faster prompt.
Yeah. See
Yeah.
how long that takes?
I think that's partly Android.
a
A lot of
little bit
Android
slow.
devices are like that, huh? A little sluggish.
They are.
Yeah.
It also has 1 gig of RAM, 16 gigs internal memory. It also has 32 gigs at external micro SD card slot on the side. So you can increase that memory size if 16 gigs isn't enough. And then I, of course, has the volume ports on the side. I have the power button up at the top with the audio jack next to it. These two are actually certainly close, the micro USB charging port and the audio jack, which may be a problem for some people.
If you were
It wasn't
plugging
for
it
me.
in, it might maybe get the headphones could get in the
Exactly,
way.
but
Yeah.
I don't know if you would be charging something at the same time.
I
you'd be
often do
listening
that.
in
If I
audio.
listen for
Do
a
you?
long time, yeah.
Okay, I never did that myself, so it didn't become a problem for me. Now, one interesting thing about the micro USB port is it's a OTG, on the go, which means that you can charge things at the same time that you're using this as well, which is actually pretty useful if you have a whole bunch of different other products that you need to charge. For example, your cell phone, if you needed to charge that on the go. It's less than 1 pound. It's 0.7 pounds, so it's pretty nice there. It's about, I believe that equals out to 12 ounces exactly. And it also has a really decent battery. I wouldn't say it's great. It only lasts about 6 to 8 hours of battery life. You can only get about 6 hours when you're actually doing video playback. But on a normal consumer use, if you're just browsing the web and things like that, you'll get about 8 hours. It has, of course, Bluetooth on the inside, BG&N, Wi-Fi. Now, one thing that I did want to focus on is they have Dolby Audio and 2 different speakers on here, so you get dual audio. You get nice stereo sound out of these 2 speakers, and that was their big selling point for this. Will be a good idea for anybody who is really obsessed with audio and having
How
a
does it
decent
sound?
tablet.
Sound
for that.
good?
So if I pull up my browser, so I'll play 2 different videos, just a couple of short seconds on here. I have Radford's review of the 925. And I'll turn this up for you. It's nice and clear. It gets loud, too. It's pretty decent.
It sounds good. I mean, you
And
probably
it's
can't tell at
focused towards
home,
the
but it
front.
sounds pretty good, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then if I pull up a different video, I'll pause this.
I could do it for audiobooks. It would be fine. For watching YouTube videos, it would be
Exactly,
fine.
yeah. Now, if we listen to some music, for example, this is a little bit different. You'll notice a change. Oh, I got to skip this ad.
What are you,
I hate it when ads come up on here.
Karaokeing? Oh.
I am totally karaoke.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounded pretty good. That actually...
So I'll play some music that we won't get taken down.
There's no
for this.
bass.
My friend Dale Chase. There is no bass, yeah, and that's a big drawback of this. While it does get loud and it's very clear and crisp, it does not give you that nice bass like IS's speakers, for example.
Right.
So that's definitely a drawback and something that would probably keep me from purchasing it. Right. It's also now considered a little bit old because it has 4.1 Jelly Bean instead of 4.3, which was just released recently, even though this is brand new. This just came out a couple of weeks ago, so it's pretty brand new.
Well, you'd think it'd have a later version of Jelly Bean. 4.22 is pretty common now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4.2 is really nice, but 4.1, so definitely a little old. I'll save the display for last. I did want to mention on the front-facing camera right here, it does not have a back-facing camera on the plasticky back, and it's very plasticky, very cheap looking. On the front, you get this little camera, and I'll pull up some pictures that I took. They actually don't look that great. So here's a couple of pictures I took earlier today and some I took over the weekend.
5 megapixels? 8?
It is 0.3 megapixels.
Oh, that's the front-facing camera.
Yeah.
Only a front-facing camera.
Only
no
a
back
front-facing
camera.
There
Oh,
is no
dude.
back-facing camera.
Dude.
It's very grainy. It is very hard to get any photos in low
That's
light.
more for Skyping, I guess, or something.
Definitely
like that.
is. Yeah, you can't really get any good photos out of this with just a front-facing camera.
Right.
Now, the last thing on my list I wanted to mention is this display. And hopefully this processor will let me get back to the home menu.
Home, please.
Home. I
Take
wanna
me
go
home.
home.
So no physical
All right, I'll
buttons
just
on there
shut
for
it
a
off.
home button. It's all
No.
capacitive.
No.
So when it freezes
No
like
home
that,
buttons.
you're
Okay, there.
Okay,
It froze.
there you go.
Which happens quite a bit. So the
Okay.
display on this guy,
I don't think you need to go much farther.
the display is 1024 by 600.
Ooh.
The resolution is really, really low.
Yeah.
And on this 7-inch device, in this day and age, I would expect a much better resolution because the pixel density is just terrible.
It's cheap. That's
It's
$149.
definitely cheap. Even the viewing angles, though, are really bad on it.
I think people should spend a little. I always tell people this: a cheap tablet is going to be a bigger expense because you're not going to use it. Spend $229, get an Nexus 7.
Yeah.
$80 more.
When
You get an
I do
Nexus
the
7.
viewing angles, even turning just
yeah.
slightly off
Yeah.
camera, it just
Holy
goes.
cow.
So you get outdated
dark.
software, really bad camera on that.
And if you
it's
look
got
at
no
this
rear camera.
front-facing, take a look at that. It almost gave me a slight headache because of
The resolution
strange-looking
is
resolution.
not super high.
Yeah. So it was just, I really didn't like that. The display is just so bad.
Thinking why don't you do the pros and cons?
So
then we'll
my
surprise everybody with
pros-
your recommendation.
Pros, pretty good sound quality with the dual Dolby speakers. Little to no bloatware from Lenovo, which is definitely a plus. I hate it when companies put bloatware on there. The cons, of course, the terrible screen.
Yeah.
The screen's horrible.
Really is bad.
The performance, as far as the CPU and the processing speed go, is definitely slow, especially on the accelerometer. And one very, very low quality camera on the front, which is so bad.
So, try.
So, I bet you can guess.
Even at half the price, probably a don't buy,
Yeah, even at half the price, I would give it a don't buy. I would say, cash out the little bit of extra money for a Nexus 7, or even the Asus has a 7-inch tablet, which is the same price.
But we still like
better
the Nexus
resolution.
7 quite a bit. I think that there are good choices out there.
I think
This is
in this
not one
case,
of them.
Lenovo should stick to laptops.
And it baffles
pretty
me
good
that
on those.
Dolby puts its name on something that sounds that bad. I mean, really, Dolby, come on. All right. Thank you, Shannon Morse, produces Before You Buy. Also, you'll see her all the time on a lot of our shows. Really appreciate it. You'll be playing poker tonight on Friday.
Oh, I will.
Will you? I don't
Okay.
know. Yes?
I guess
Shannon,
I'll be playing
you play poker?
I did win some money over the weekend in Vegas.
Well, there you go. You better watch out, Padre. So our resident priest is holding a poker game on Friday night. Make sure you tune in. Shannon will be taking the pot. Thank you, Shannon. But right now, you can take that Lenovo away.
You can find out more about this fantastic offer by clicking the link in the description.